Hey guys, Canman here, and in this video I'm reviewing the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 set 31118 Surfer Beach House. This set contains 564 pieces and retails for $50. Let's start off with a look at the minifigures. Alright, so both the minifigures in this set don't use any new parts, they're just reused parts from other sets, mainly LEGO City. So this first minifigure here actually uses a face from a named character from LEGO City, and that is Harl Hubbs. It's a pretty nice face print though. And then he just has this pretty standard hairpiece in dark brown, this nice torso print, and then just some unprinted dark blue legs. What's nice is this head does actually have an alternate face, and it's a pretty good one too. And this figure just has a tiny bit of back torso printing, not much there really. So here's the second figure, and this one uses short legs in teal, which I think is pretty uncommon. She has this pretty good torso print here, and then her head also has a secondary face. And there also you can see just that pretty standard dark orange hair. And her alternate face is pretty interesting too. She's got a shocked expression. And then there also is the back torso printing. So here is the Surfer Beach House. It's actually a pretty large design, and has some good interior space. But first I'm going to give you a close-up look on all of the exterior details. So we'll start at the ground level and then work our way up. First off here, you can see some water and then a little beach with a dock wrapping around it. On one part of the dock here, there's actually a little shower, which has some studs to represent hot, cold, and then also a pink one to represent a soap bar, and then there's also a little flag piece to represent a towel. Then you can see a use of 1x1 clear slopes to represent waves kind of crashing up against the beach shore. And you can also see this balcony here, which has some posts going down into the sand. And also there's a little palm tree kind of coming out of one of those posts. It's a pretty nice design for a little palm tree. You can angle the leaves in different positions if you want. And then you can see there's also a little red crab down here. And some large windows, which are also on the side, and you can get a pretty good look at the interior. Then there's also a sand green surfboard just attached to the wall over here. Then if we keep on turning, you can see this side, which is pretty bland. There's only one window. And then there's almost a log cabin style wall design here using some textured bricks. And then finally back over here, you can see a doorway, which is actually the main entrance into this building. And then there's also a staircase to access the second floor. So we'll go ahead and adjust the camera up and start taking a look at the second floor of this place. The stairs just lead on up to a small balcony, which has a surfboard attached to the railing. And then you can also see a nice leaf canopy here, and a small brick-built bird, which is just perched on the top of the leaf canopy. I'll give a closer look at that in a little bit. And also on that balcony, you can see a doorway which leads into the second floor. Then turning it back this way, you can see another balcony which also has a doorway. There's a little life buoy decoration here, a soda can over here, however the top of that is unprinted, not that nice soda can lid print. However, this piece here is printed, and it's just a little pizza to-go box, and that's just attached to the railing. Then it's hard to get a good look at it, but it is easy to remove. There's actually a little red chair just on that balcony. You can kind of readjust the back of it a little bit. And of course, there's just space for one minifigure on it. And that just attaches to a little 2x2 jumper tile on that balcony. And then if I adjust the camera up a bit more, you can see a sign that says surf. And that uses a lot of quarter round tiles in red. There's also a lime green surfboard attached to the sign. Plus, the sign can be rotated all the way around if you so wish. But anyways, if we keep on turning the house around, you can see the walls of the side of the second story here, which are fairly bland. There is a bit of texturing thrown in here, and then there's also a shutter here, which you can pull open to reveal a small window into the inside of the second story. Then also just around the corner is another identical window there. Same shutter design and the same size window. Also the same textured bricks. Then also up at the rooftop there's some little vents. And that's pretty much all there is to that. So I'm actually going to give you one last look at the exterior of this, which will be an overhead look. So with this overhead look, you can get a better view of the leaf canopy over this balcony. Also a slightly better look at that surf sign there. And then here you can also see a nice wood plank overhang over that balcony. Then turning it around, on the roof, you can see a nice mixture of dark blue and sand blue for those slopes. But that's pretty much all there is to see there, besides this small little smokestack type thing here, as well as a couple grill tiles, probably to represent vents or something. So now that you've gotten a good look at all of the exterior, it's time to fold this build open and get a look at the inside. We'll start over at the left side and then just work our way through. And then once we're through with that, I'll show you the different fold-in combinations of this entire building. So starting off with the interior over at the left side, there's not too much to see. On the lower floor, there's actually a little checkout counter using a printed register piece, which I'll go ahead and just pull this whole table out so you can get a slightly better look at that nice print. But that's really all there is to the interior of the first floor there. On the upper balcony, there's a little plant box, and then also a potted plant over here. But that's really all there is to that. So moving on, you can see the doorway to the second floor there, and then also the interior of what I guess is supposed to be a surf shop or a dive shop of some type. I would assume it's a surf shop because of the sign, but there aren't actually any surfboards for sale inside. But there is quite a bit of diving gear, which you can see on a table over here. There's actually a diving helmet, a life jacket, and some red flippers, which can all be detached from that stand. Then on the other side of the room, there's actually a little chest of drawers, which has some soda cans on top. 1 in red and 2 blue. Then lastly, you can see those large windows here, and also some white air tanks on the other side of that diving gear rack. So then we can see where this door actually leads to, which is a very small apartment. There's actually a refrigerator in the middle there with a little potted plant on top. Then to the left of that is a little sink, which also has a pink stud to represent some soap. And then you can also see a bed, which is fairly low to the ground, and has some studs there so you can attach a minifigure to it. It also has some blue, dark blue, and red striping. But that's really all there is to that interior, not too much. There is actually a little design for a light up above the door, though. So then moving on to this final section, there's actually nothing really to see. There's a small area at the bottom of the dock platform, where I guess you could stand a minifigure. But then up top is just those glass doors which lead out onto the balcony. So, if you fold this back together, someone inside that apartment has access through this door to get out onto the small balcony. So now we're going to take a quick look at some of the different combinations of how you can fold this thing. First up, you can just completely unfold these sections here, turn it around, and you have a pretty interesting looking kind of corner type building. This actually feels like there's a lot more here than the previous one. I mean, granted, there wouldn't be much interior really on this side or this side, but it still is a pretty nice look. So that's something you could go for if you prefer how this looks on display. Of course, another thing you could do is just fold up one of those sections. So the opposite of that would just look like that, which is another decent option, but I don't think it looks quite as good as the others. But that's pretty much it for the different ways you can unfold this beach house. But before we finish up this review, there's actually a couple brick-built animals to look at, and then the spare pieces, as well as a quick look at the alternate builds. So for the brick-built animals, we actually have a dolphin, a couple sea turtles, and that little bird that we saw earlier. This one is a pretty basic creator-style bird. It's got a red and magenta color scheme. Not really much to it, so I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. So then we have these two little sea turtles, which are actually different sizes. There's a slightly larger one here, and then the smaller one here, which just uses this single piece for its shell, whereas this one has a slightly more built-up shell using slopes and such. They both have kind of posable legs, with this one using this type of piece, which you can adjust like so. Then this one uses that tooth piece, which you can also change around the angle of for their little flippers. But there's really not too much else to see with these little sea turtle builds. So I'm going to go ahead and push them aside, and then we'll just take a look at the dolphin. So for a brick-built dolphin, I think this looks pretty good. It's got quite a bit of posability. You can move this back tail section up and down here. You can move these flippers independently on each side. Then you can also adjust the little mouth at the front here, so you can get some different looks out of that. Then there's also those printed eyes on either side. Then you can just kind of see the white underbelly there. And up top with that nice fin. But really, there's not too much else to this dolphin design. It is a pretty good size, too. A little bit bigger than the standard molded dolphin pieces that LEGO uses. So here are all the spare parts for the set. There's quite a lot of them, but it makes sense as it is a larger set. But overall, they all are pretty standard stuff, and there is a brick separator included. However, the one thing that's weird to me is there's this little clear piece here, you know, the one that has this bar that a minifigure can grab onto, and I don't remember it being used anywhere in the build. So either I just have a bad memory and completely forgot where it went, or there was a mistake in this set and I just got this piece randomly for no reason. I honestly don't remember, so I don't know for sure. But I'm pretty certain it wasn't used throughout the set, so I think it was just a minor error. But anyways, let's move on and take a look at the instructions for some of the alternate builds. So since I myself am not interested in making either of these two alternate builds, I'm just going to show you the designs on the front of the extra instructions included. So this one here is a longer design, it's only a single story. I think it's supposed to be a house of some sort. There's a little pool out front here with a diving board, and then the surfboard's there. And actually a pretty nice brick-built toucan over here, it looks like. But overall, I don't think this is really the greatest alternate build. I still think the main one is better. Then here's the next one, which is actually a little more interesting to me. There's a small lighthouse design over here, and then also a very small boat design here, as well as a little manta ray build. Once again, I would definitely say the main build is better, but if I were to build one of the alternate ones, I think I'd go with this one. It just looks a little more interesting. So overall, I really like this set. I think it's a pretty good price for what you get, and Creator 3-in-1 has done a lot of beach house type sets before, but I think this one is the best. It's got a really nice, colorful design to it, and just a lot of unique aspects. And the brick-built animals are actually pretty good, too. So I'd rate this one 9 classic smiley faces out of 10. What are your thoughts on this set, though? Do you like it as much as me? Feel free to share in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.